defiance of authority is nothing that can be tolerated.
My name is Robert Roy Lansbury. I'm from Pittsburgh, born and raised in Pittsburgh. I am a philosopher. I delve in consumer advocacy and human rights advocacy because these are the important parts of this world today with mind control.
In the good old days, there was always a communist conspiracy somewhere. We knew who the good guys were, we knew who the bad guys were. We had the blue side of the map, they had the red side of the map, and it was all separated by the Iron Curtain. Now, it's gone.
Call me at that any other day of the year, I won't get worked up. Call me on the 4th of July when people like me get killed in battle. Then I say, hey, don't go call me crazy on the 4th of July.
Bob Lansbury has spent over 30 years of his life protesting subliminal mind control. He believes that there is a vast conspiracy of the rich and powerful who remain unaccountable to the public. And everyone thinks he's crazy.
That's not true. I am not crazy. Hardly am I crazy.
Lansbury was out on the street before anyone showed up to work, and he was there after everyone went home. At night, he lived under a bridge. In his off time, he would write letters to the FBI, seeking proof that they were monitoring him. I met Lansbury on the street, much like everyone else in Pittsburgh. After a long discussion, Lansbury determined that I too was mind-controlled, and a great friendship was born.
Now, what is perhaps most interesting about the Bob Lansbury story is that the FBI indeed collected an inordinate amount of information on the guy. Here I have in my hands Bob Lansbury's FBI file. It's over 400 pages long, and for some reason it's completely full of Bob Lansbury's mail.
In the beginning, this was 25 years ago, they started telling me I wasn't getting any mail. The people were sending me letters, and they had people in the streets that tell me they sent me letters and I never got them. So they convinced me at that time to start carrying a sign and complained about mail censorship when I really didn't have any mail. And the mail I did have was no money in. I don't get 8 letters a year, and all of them are crazies. This is the first piece of mail I've had in months. Here it is on the front, to Robert Roy Lansbury, and by God, I got it. Long live Print Zumska. Now this one is funny, it shows a sense of humor, and I'm glad to receive it, because if I hadn't received it, I wouldn't have gotten any mail at all.
I'm gonna sit right down and write myself a letter and make believe it came from you. I'm gonna write words oh so sweet, they're gonna knock me off my feet. A lot of kisses on the bottom, I'll be glad I got 'em. I'm gonna smile and say I hope you're feeling better.
Dear Walter Mondale, I state the laws of probability are exact. As a monkey given enough time, paper, and a typewriter could write a play, I dream of making it into Bartlett's or Holmes quotations. If I write enough sentences like the monkey, I could eventually get a great one. I'm not shooting for a whole play, ergo, I might luck out. Mondale, where in the hell is my mail? Robert Lansbury.
They had me arrested in a Secret Service on a trumped-up charge. It was an outright lie that I threatened Vice President Mondale's life to silence me. So Secret Service got all worked up, puts me in prison on this trumped-up charge, and after 29 days in prison, they drop the charges because then they have to schedule a trial. If you're the one troublemaker all by yourself, they all come after you, and Secret Service is always after me because of my statements and mind control.
Amidst all of the blacked out and deleted pages in Bob Lansbury's FBI file is a letter from Bob requesting the contents of the artichoke file.
Now, the first time I read that, I thought that was a joke. But as it turns out, Project Artichoke was actually one of the earliest American mind control research programs. And it was conducted largely during the Korean War, in which Bob was serving as a naval officer.
Day after day, they send my friends away to mansions cold and grey, to the far side of town, where the thin men stalk the streets while the sane stay underground. Day after day, they tell me I can go, they tell me I can blow to the far side of town, where it's pointless to be high, 'cause it's such a long way down. So I tell them that I can fly, I will scream, I will break my arm.
After receiving a small dose of LSD, they're confused and undisciplined.
Here I stand, foot in hand, talking to my wall. I'm not quite right at all, am I? Don't set me free, I'm as heavy as can be. Just my librium and me, and my EST makes free. 'Cause I'd rather stay here with all the madmen than perish with the sad men roaming free. And I'd rather play here with all the madmen, but I'm quite content they're all the same as me.
If you're selected as a mind control guinea pig through no fault of your own, they may not have anything in particular against you, but you have everything that they want. So they use you without your knowledge, without your consent, without paying you. Well, this is a total human rights violation.
The National Commission for the Protection of Human Subjects of Biomedical and Behavioral Research.
In 1977, the U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Health and Scientific Research, chaired by Senator Edward Kennedy, investigates claims that CIA mind control experiments in the 1950s were done on unwitting human subjects.
It was the most unreal weekend I can ever remember.
What's the first question you ask about a government? Is it evil or is it insane? Now, Hitler was evil, Stalin was evil. Our country is crazy.
Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. Some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted. The United States of America offers a sincere apology to those of our citizens who were subjected to these experiments, to their families, and to their communities.
At Harvard University, Dr. Henry Murray was using undergraduate students in an experiment to find out if they would abandon their most deeply held beliefs as a result of extreme verbal interrogation.
He was sort of into the annihilation of the will. This was supposedly, you know, to sort of find out whether or not we could get people to talk under interrogation, what various types of physiological effects of being berated and having your will destroyed, having your ego squashed might be. And some of the experimental subjects went on to become probably people with large amount of resentment due to this kind of formal destruction of their will and ego. And one of them was Ted Kaczynski.
The FBI agents hunting for the deadly Unabomber have detained a Montana man described as a hermit. A neighbor identified him as Theodore Kaczynski. Over the years, 3 people have been killed and 23 have been injured in a number of attacks, including one in Sacramento, California.
I think of Murray as basically a nervous breakdown artist. You know, someone who's skilled in the art of creating a nervous breakdown in people. And he did. He broke them down. He did a really good job.
I always thought that was the compelling question about Bob Lansbury. What made him Lansbury?
There's a pawn shop on a corner in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Here I was, a successful businessman. I was a college graduate. I attended 3 universities. I'm considered extremely brilliant. I'm a retired naval officer. I've been in combat. I'm courageous.
Before he was Lansbury, as he told it, he was a kind of a hard driving business type.
Later on, I went into business. I made a few bucks. I had a couple grocery stores and some apartment houses. I got wiped out. I mean, the government came in and they hit me with mind controls. I did every damn thing so damn dumb. I lost all my money. I lost my family. I lost his. I lost everything. From that time, I've been destitute ever since.
He seemed to have a sense that he'd missed something with his family because of where he talked about working very long hours, which when he became Lansbury, he did on the street.
My wife leaves me, takes the kids, she disappears. They throw me into prison. The Secret Service said I threatened Vice President Mondale's life, which I didn't do. Man, I am crazy. I mean, I hear voices, you know.
He was pretty much an average sort of a suburbanite, anonymous like most of us, and that something happened.
Finally, I was eating dinner one night and I bit in a piece of bread and the voices disappeared. I said, wait a second.
Lansbury believes that the voices he hears inside his head are transmitted to him through what he calls silent radio. He says the origins of this technology date back to the radio experiments of Rudolf Hertz, who in 1887 discovered that 1 in 1,000 people could hear certain radio signals inside their head.
But some people say, we hear voices in our heads. And he started to investigate his way and say, wonder if that's me, and below it was him. And every government in the world and all the religions came stomping down on his head. Oh, no, we don't broadcast this, we don't advertise it, we don't put it in a book forever. Because we can mind control the people.
Lansbury believes that American intelligence agencies are attempting to weaponize this mind control technology and are testing it out on American citizens in what he calls suicide studies.
And this is when we got a little worried about him. That the voices were trying to get him to do bad things. And when we'd ask them, they were generally trying to get him to hurt himself.
Because I hear voices all the time, sometimes 24 hours a day. They wake me up in the middle of the night. They try to break me every way there is to be broken. They're always trying to get me to commit suicide, for instance, which is ridiculous. I mean, I'm so proud of what I'm doing. No way would I ever kill myself. But they try.
However, there are other voices which Lansbury believes are originating from disgruntled Carnegie Mellon science professors.
May I say this was a CMU professor who just told me to bring it up.
These scientists believe that the technology should be used instead for the good of humanity, and they are using silent radio to educate Bob as their spokesperson, to get the truth out.
I do take their advice. Sometimes I make a mistake in taking some bad advice, but normally I try to listen and think and take good advice from these people to further my cause to try to stop this.
By and large, 2 to 4% of the population at large, sometimes higher, will admit